All right, welcome. Plan Stage Weekly, February 23rd. Looks like Julian has the first.
That'll be
Yeah, actually, before we get into that, just gonna do team updates because I know we have new people on the team that we did not introduce in a call, but I don't think any of them are anyone's in APEC hours. So, all right, never mind. We won't do team updates. Julian, you're up.
yeah, it'll be like 5 seconds. So for my screen. So now you can create a task first. Yeah, now there is an auto completion for quick actions in work item notes. Can apply them commands only change the title to hello. Um, for some reason it doesn't refresh. I think that might have something to do with the real-time work in progress, no? But anyways, yeah, that's just 5 seconds demo. Yeah, it's now available here. So one thing is if you go to the production, like and then type some quick action, it will work, but that goes through like actually the quick action service for issues. Um, like locally, actually, this goes through the work item service, so it correctly auto completes the available quick actions and etc. Yeah. Yep. So a quick update. Questions now?
I have a question. The top alert that is shown,
Mm-hmm.
is that going to happen every time we type a command? Or was that
Every
just
time.
because there was an error? Was it an error message
It
or
was not
what
an
was it?
error, so let me show again.
Because like it is
No,
using the danger style. Maybe it should use the
correct. So I thought that was
warning style,
strange.
like because it's red, so it looks like
Yeah,
an
yeah, yeah,
error,
yeah.
which
So
is a bit
yeah,
confusing.
yeah, it's not. Let me repeat. So
Yeah, okay.
if I only type like what doesn't so let's say foobar. So there's only quick action here, right? So there's no note that's being generated for this particular scenario.
Yeah.
So when I hit comment, it just warns you that you just
Yeah.
changed the title to something, but there was no
Yeah.
note that
Okay.
got generated in the process,
It's just that
right?
it looks like an error. I'm wondering if it
Correct.
should
Yeah.
be like a bottom, like tiny message, like when we
Right.
offer to do undo on certain things, or if it should look like a yellow alert instead, because it
Right.
looks like an error, which can be a bit confusing.
Right. That's because in the back end, well, yeah. So the quick actions, it kind of gets processed by two different services for notes. Like it actually correctly embeds all the extra messages that get generated in the process, and on the front end it gets displayed for some reason for this note alone here.
Okay.
Let me add something
Do we
on.
show the
So
same thing in issues like that? And it just is on the top, so I never noticed it?
probably we
Uh,
do like
I don't know.
No, I don't think we do. It actually creates a note instead, which is what Julian was saying. Like on work items, we don't create a note when we perform a quick action, but we do, I think, on issues.
we'll see. Okay, so it does display this message, change the title to some issue, but yeah, it's blue now.
Okay, sorry. So you're saying in where it says where there's a system note around changing the title, we're not sending a system note when we do that in work items?
I didn't say that.
Oh, sorry. That was me being confused then.
Um, no, it's simply a message that's embedded in the response. Just for FYI, this as you can see, there is a system note, right?
Yeah.
But it also in the GraphQL response, there is extra message that says, simply, just friendly telling you that, your node only contained a quick action. So, no new node was generated in the process. We only apply the quick action that was in the present, that was present in the request. Yeah.
Okay. I wonder for issues where it said change title. Is that also coming? Is that the message coming from the back end there? Or?
Yep. In the back, yeah, from the back end, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, we're probably just going to want to change that within work items to match what we're doing with issues around the copy and the color. Just because I agree with Flory, it kind of, in its current state, it looks like something bad happened.
Oh, that's because it comes as errors. Right? That's not good.
Yeah, it probably shouldn't come back as an error then, because it actually happened.
When we send a note, when we create a note, we get back the note, right? Like that's.
But this time, but this time there's no. It only contained a quick action that told you to assign root. So.
And I think that is the reason that the real time is also not updated. I'm not sure, maybe because the system note should also be generated that the administrator assigned.
Oh, I see. Because since there was an error, okay.
Because if you see, when we refresh, the system note of administrator change title from hello to Fuba was generated, but earlier it was not with error. But yes, this is something that should have happened. But it did not, maybe because it's coming in error.
If I remember right, the existing quick actions also come back in the errors response. That's just always been how it was. Like the commands responses, we just get back in an error from the back end. And it's just the current one is styled in blue. The one above, like issue notes, is in an info box. And we just take the contents out of errors for command names or the command responses in style blue.
But that's not okay. Yeah, maybe. But right now in the code, if there's an error, we just throw an error like it, and there is no way to differentiate that it's an error or a communication from the backend. So maybe we'll have to handle that in the code right now because it's not.
This was just an array of errors, right? The current ones are named, I think, in the response.
And will it always be an array of 2 items, or just can be one also, right? Because the error will, I don't know. Can you try again?
It can be multiple if you're adding a bunch of quick actions.
Yeah.
But it's currently, there's an array or 2 arrays that are just a list of commands, but they're named inside the errors object in the response.
They are named.
They're named in the errors object that we get back, whatever the current quick actions endpoint is. The one on issues.
Oh, okay. Sorry, but so the errors within GraphQL are not named.
We're about to find out.
They're not.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to be hard.
They're not named. It's like normal errors, I guess. That's string, right?
They start with commands only and command names, which is the name of the parameters. So maybe something funny is happening.
You have to have a regex or something for that, like to find out if it's a normal error or I don't know. Like,
I wonder, can we just send the system note back here?
No, is something funny happening with when that response gets serialized in Ruby? Because that response looks weird.
This response?
Yeah, that command names and then an array that's serialized into a string looks a bit funny.
So let me look at that because I didn't touch this part. Yeah. So my main work was around making quick actions recognize work items and check widgets. So yeah.
At times. Anyway, that's cool.
Yeah.
More complications to deal with.
Yeah, it's always the way.
But it's a huge task, like you've done it, so that's great. It's not
because it wasn't the only complication from my
I
end.
know, I get it. That's why I'm
Yeah.
telling you. You've done so much, so just a little thing.
Yeah.
And let me know. I'll handle that in the front end for the errors thing. I know
All
that
right, that's nice. Yep.
yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, nice job. And then so the next, I don't know if we'll work on it in 1510 or 1511, but the next iteration of quick actions and work items are the other the remaining quick actions in both description and notes. So just a little preview of what's to come. Yeah, there's some, I added everything that we have currently in issues to the issue to add the other quick actions to work items. But there's some that I think we'll have to think about, like promote, and see how we handle that because of how closely that's going to be related to change type, change work item type quick action. But again, that's coming up in the next 1 or 2 milestones. All right, Flory, you're next.
All right. So I've been making some improvements to work items UI, mostly tasks. But this one impacts any work item. So it works for objectives and key results, which is adding the ID in the breadcrumb here. And in this case, it also displays in the model. So if we open, okay, it was opening models when I was not sharing my screen, and no, it's not. It's fascinating.
It's because you're in the
yeah, so
model,
this is my local. If I do it on my local, it opens the model actually.
Yeah, that feature flag's not on for that
if
project.
We're in a model as well. So it works on the detail page and on the model page. There is something I've noticed though after the fact is that it only works if, I mean, it was like that in the requirements, but basically if it's a parent work item, like the color is different and there's no IID, so maybe we might need a follow-up. And I'm not sure why the color is different. Like I didn't really work on that at all. But it could also, even when there's no parent, we should probably display the ID anyway, and we should probably match the color as well. I find that a little bit confusing. But I was doing that when we didn't have any UX counterpart, so might have to chat with Amanda and Nick about it. We'll see. Any thoughts or questions on this?
Did you also fix the modal focus thingy that was going on before?
I made some changes to how we focus things in the model, like in GitLab UI. That was a while ago. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like it's fixed now. So there was a combination of things happening. I guess in the end, it looks fixed. So yeah, but there was some changes required directly into the model component in GitLab UI. So it's not focusing this breadcrumb by default when we open the model anymore.
Good, thank you.
I agree.
The
I think there's still an issue
cut on one side. The focus ring being cut on the left-hand side or something.
Sorry, which focus?
The focus ring on the on the top breadcrumb when it was auto highlighting because we cut off the focus ring as well. So there was just like
Yeah, so
the
I think
outline
it
on three sides.
happens if I go, no. If I do this and like if I open and then yeah, like this focus is really weird here. Like for accessibility, it's probably
Yeah, it still has that cut off, that blue line just on
yeah.
the single blue line.
So I don't know if I do this. Yeah, so it still looks weird. It doesn't autofocus anymore when you open the model. But when it is focused, like if people use keyboard navigation, it still looks a bit weird. So oh, next iteration of fixing focus things.
Thank you, though. Appreciate you going and fixing these.
No worries. It was really bugging me anyway. I couldn't leave it.
Yeah, for sure. Do we know what the plan is for the rest of the iterations of the UI of breadcrumbs within work items? Because I don't know, it still looks kind of weird having multiple breadcrumbs in the work item detail view. And
yeah, so people have been complaining about the fact that we have this
Mm-hmm.
at the top here, like the group projects work items. So I don't know what the plan is. I haven't seen any issue. We might have things for later, but I don't know.
So we do have an issue which is proposing unifying both the breadcrumbs with some of the initial designs also present. I can try finding it and pasting it into the agenda because I did see an active conversation there from Marcel as well. Now that Marcel will be the UX leadership counterpart for plan stage, along with Nick helping the product planning itself. So I saw some comments from him in that issue. I'll find and paste it in the agenda.
Can we just hide it on the standalone work item page in the meantime? So there's not two.
Hide which one?
I don't mind. We just hide the top one so we keep objectives.
Yeah, but then we can't navigate back to the group.
There's other ways to navigate.
Yeah, true.
It's two steps and a bit annoying, but it's then good incentive to fix the work item breadcrumbs.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it looks weird. It's at the top of the page.
It does. It does look very weird.
Yeah.
It should be consistent with the way we do it on issues and epics and such.
Yeah, but not MRs, which are slightly different.
It's going to be a bit confusing when we combine the concepts of hierarchy within the work item along with hierarchy within our group project structure. You know, it'll just, it'll be.
Yeah, so that's actually something that I sort of started talking to Amanda about, was that currently the way hierarchy navigation works is mostly through breadcrumbs. But what I was thinking in terms of like when it comes to like building trees of children, and maybe one day we'll have siblings and there will be many types of work items and such, we should probably just have a dedicated widget for that, similar maybe to the ancestor widget in epics when it comes like seeing all the parents, and maybe have a more visual way of looking at it that wouldn't maybe clutter and confuse the breadcrumb. I think that might be a good way to handle it.
Yeah, where I don't think we can necessarily solve all sorts of navigation problems just with like single row.
No, I don't think either.
I agree.
Ooh, anything else before I move on to the next demo? I'll move on. So the other thing I worked on related to tasks is adding metadata in the tree on issue page. So now we can see milestone, assignee, and labels on tasks linked inside issues. That's it. It's just the visual on that tree. That's all. Any comments or questions?
We have that on linked items also. We show labels on linked items.
I don't know. Let's see. I'll link an issue. Maybe I can just do some rendering. I don't know it. Oh, I can link a key results for some reason. That doesn't make any sense. So we have a signy here. Yeah, it looks different, and I'm not sure. Does it have labels?
So regarding that key
Yes.
result showing up in the auto completion, can you confirm if newly created key results are showing up or not? Because when we started working on adding support for key results back in mid-December, there was a bug where creating new key results was setting its type as issue instead of key result, and that ended up creating some bad
It
data.
could be an old key result. No, it's a key result.
Yeah,
and
but
it actually was linked. Oh, you mean
create
in
a
the
new key
database?
result.
It's
Yeah,
an
yes.
issue. Yeah, that's very possible. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
like if you create new key result, the type of that key result would be correct, and in that case, it
Yeah.
may not show up in the auto completion.
Okay, I'll verify that it doesn't happen again later. I'll create a key result and make sure it doesn't happen. Yeah, fair enough. But we don't display labels in relates to in the linked items. We display assigning, but we don't display labels actually. To answer Donald's question.
Gotcha. Cool. We have one of the widgets have the ability to hide the labels, or is that just within
that's Epic
boards?
Tree?
Yes.
Epic Tree. Okay.
Yeah.
We're planning on adding that to the test widget or the hierarchy widget.
Yeah, I don't know. It would make sense to like sort of have that, because the thing is when we migrate epics to work items, we'll be using the work item tree, so the same as tasks here. So if we want to maintain that functionality on Epic Tree, we'll have to build it.
Yeah, for OKRs, it was asked as a follow-up that hierarchy widget should have an ability to toggle labels, even if it doesn't persist in the database. Like right now, if you look at child issues and epics, you can hide labels, but it doesn't persist across page reloads. It is just front-end only toggle.
Yeah. All right. Any other comments or questions on this?
How do we pull in the labels and all the other information on those tasks? Are we pulling in all of the widgets for all of the tasks?
So yeah. Yeah, we are. We use fragments. It's a big query, but now it's a single request. It's fetching it on its own. Yeah, maybe we should have more split up fragments defined, like maybe one per widget, and then we only pull the ones we actually need potentially. But yeah, when there's a lot of tasks, it could be a bit heavy. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, tests, and like I'm thinking if we do add the ability to remove labels from the UI or anything from the UI here.
Yeah, so that's also something because it's a front end only toggle, like it's something that I looked into for roadmap. We fetch the labels even when we don't show them, because otherwise we require like some kind of full page reload or re-request, and it looks weird. Like the UI flashes. So we need to work out how to do it more elegantly so that it's kind of more seamless to the user.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Cool, though. I'm glad. Yeah, I think it's a good ad having labels show up there. Yeah, looks good.
Yeah, it was just merged this morning, so we'll hit production in the next 24 hours probably. All right. I'm gonna move on to conversations instead of demo, if that's okay. So this is pretty early on. I just started really diving into this yesterday, even though I've been thinking about it for a long time, working on filtering. Like working on filters currently is quite complex. Like we have different implementations for doing very similar things, particularly on issues and epics. I'm focusing on the plan issuables for now. And so I'm going through a big analysis of like what's available on the back end, which tokens are actually implemented, what's in common between all those things, so we can start like grouping things together, see what's missing on the back end as well to have it like more consistent across these objects, so that we stop having all those like different implementations that really they do the same thing, but they're built very differently. So I'm gonna start working on a spike to like see what we can group together. And like, so the reason as well, like what spiked this really, like what made me really start on it, even though I've been thinking about it for a while, was working on the OR filter, first of all, which brings a whole lot of new problems like multi-select, should it be unique or not? It's like creating problems, which is the epic that was linked there, which is the undesired behavior when you combine certain criteria. Like some filters are incompatible, like, so it needs to be smarter. But currently it's such a mess that it's very, very complicated to implement those like exclusive things between different criteria within filter tokens. So I just want to like simplify the code, group things together, create utils, and make them more flexible, easier to maintain, easier to build upon, like add new filters instead of having to add like, we had to do it once for epic boards, one for issue boards, epic sys and such. You have to do it like 4 times. I want to have to do it only once, and it's available everywhere as long as it's available on the back end. That's the gist of it. I feel like I went into some depth in there, but that's roughly the idea. It's kind of the first step towards like a unified filtered search for the product. Baby steps. So like feedback is welcome, ideas, whatever, like thoughts. You can comment on the epic, add things, whatever. Anything's welcome.
Just to clarify, Flori, are you only looking at epics and issues and I suppose maybe merge requests as a result?
For now, but I know there's way more to it. I have to start somewhere, and currently in plan epics and issues, like lists and boards, epics and issues are already very divergent, even though they basically do the same thing. But down the line, I'm hoping we can, like extend it to merge request, cycle analytics, like whatever. So we could, like, I'm happy to, like, if you want to contribute in terms of like, see what else we could include, if we want a list where filtered search is used in a similar way. Like in this case, for example, like I don't know, like there are things that come back all the time, like confidential, labels, author, milestone. I don't know, like that's going to be the case for merge requests, but I don't know about other filtering, like if the tokens are completely different or if they have some of those in common as well. But the logic should be similar for a lot of things, like or and not, for example, like they should be equivalent. Just building the top layer objects for those hopefully is the same implementation on the back end. Can't even guarantee that, but it should be. But yeah, like whatever you think we should include in there, please like add stuff if you want to, if you're interested in really unifying it like beyond epics and issues.
I guess from my perspective, I guess a simpler use case might be some of the analytics filters, because we actually exclude a lot of the, like currently I don't think we ever filter by weight and confidentiality and things like that. So yeah, I guess I'll keep an eye out on this, or if you see opportunity that you think you want to test something in possibly a different area, we have a relatively shared set of filters across a lot of analytics pages.
Okay.
So that could be a good option. And
Yeah.
just to throw him under the bus a bit, I think Kushal and I both worked on the shared filter bar a little bit in the past, but that was a couple of years ago. So there might be some knowledge we can throw in as well.
Yeah, so filtered search bar shared app that we have is currently only used on roadmap and Epic's list page, and Flory is aware of it. We aren't using it, at least in the product planning side of things. We aren't using it anywhere else besides those two areas. But even that's itself is a separate implementation. If you look at other places like issues list or even user dashboard where you can go to your to-dos page, we have basically n number of filter implementations, and the idea here is to unify it all so that we don't have to repeat ourselves every time we add support for a new token on a certain page.
So then would this be a wrapper around GL filtered search?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's like it gathers the tokens generated by GL filtered search to build the filter object sent to the API. Roughly, if I really simplify. On that psychoanalytic stuff, Ezekiel, if you could send me some information, because if there's already a unified implementation of it, I should probably take a look before I even get started on issues and epics. Like if I can just nuke everything and replace it by something already existing, that's ideal.
Yeah, sure. I'll dig around and let you know.
Thanks.
I wonder if we should, because the other problem we have with the different filtering is that we still have some tokens that are like we're still using our REST APIs or other APIs, like the API.
Oh, so the other thing that could be part of this unification is the way we populate the suggestions for the tokens. Absolutely. Like some of them, like we have different ways of fetching labels, milestones, and such. We should just have one, and it should be GraphQL and used it everywhere across all of our filter bars. So that will be one of the things I'll be looking into. Yes.
Cool. Awesome. Sounds good. Just a couple quick notes around project management work within filtered search right now, because we have a couple things going on. I know you know because you were part of or filtering for epics, but Pong is working on multi-select within GL filtered search around that component. So that'll have some implications, I think, on this.
Yes.
And then Heinrich is running a spike right now around essentially saved filters, the concept of saved filters that we've talked about for a while. And that will also involve how we manage or how we handle our query params within search. So
interesting.
Both of them are
definitely things to be. I was already aware of the multi-select, which needs to happen anyway. So yes, I wasn't aware of the saved search param, which is also interesting, and I should take it into account during this initiative. The saved search param, does that relate to board scope? Or is that a new thing?
It is a new thing that will be based. It's a new thing, but it's similar. Possibly.
Yeah, so it's the same concept, but the backend will look different. Okay, sounds good.
So Flory, if you recall, we did discuss it a couple of days ago. Like, so basically, saved params is nothing but the concept of views, where you would essentially create a bunch of filters, preserve it, and that view will be able to visualize in different ways. Like you can have the same set of filters showing up as a list of items or roadmap or boards, etc. So that's how it is going to
really
evolve.
Cool. So I should probably work with Heinrich on that to make sure that, because like for example, like in my initial audit for this, like I've highlighted some gaps in like certain endpoints. So we want to make sure that they will all work together, and that of course the front end implementation will work both with like existing filters and the new unified like view that we just talked about. So yeah, like I know this will involve many people across different teams and such. But yeah, I think it's really important. So yeah.
Cool. And I'll link those two issues in our agenda.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm just adding some examples from different analytics pages as well to the agenda.
Yeah, I saw that. Thank you. I'll dig into it later. Anything else about filters?
Nope.
Cool. So next point is still mine. I have a lot to talk about today. I just wanted to quickly mention the CSS optimization project, because that's still going and there's not much left. But there's quite a few things that are related to project management that are left to do, like some issue stuff. I'm not sure there's much left in the issues here. Some of them have been done actually, and there should be notes and projects. And so I thought I'd mention it here, because it falls under plan responsibilities. Anyone can pick anything technically, but it helps to have the domain knowledge. I've also been thinking like some of them don't really make sense to be page ones. Like labels was initially highlighted when we started that years ago, and I'm thinking it should just be moved to components probably. So maybe notes as well. I don't know. Notes are across a lot of things, so that could be a thing that could also be a component potentially. But there's a lot, like this is still going on, and we've done a lot in the last few months, and so there's like a lot more done here, as you can see, than what's left to do. So I think we should try and finish it and keep improving our CSS if you can, and if you have the capacity, obviously, because we're busy. Yeah, that was my last thing I wanted to talk about.
Awesome. Am I next? I am, but Deepika, I'm gonna move yours up so you go first because I want to see your stuff demoed.
Sure. Let me just share my screen. No. Okay, so this is already on production, but this is behind the feature flag. It's the real-time update for notes. And let me just put it to newest first, because then it will make more sense so that
At some point, show your network tab too, so we can see no polling calls at all.
Yeah, let me just share because they're already small. So I'll just share how it looks, and then because I wanted to, I will do that. Okay, so this is real-time update for both activity notes and for comments, deleting, updating, everything. So the comment, when we were writing a new comment, there was we did was we wrote it to the cache because the subscriptions were not there. So that has been removed for now, and it is working purely on subscriptions. So let me just try to update the weight here, and you can see that it's okay. Yeah, it does make sense to show the network tabs. We make sure that there's no other API call. Yeah. I know it's so small, but just bear with me for a while. And okay, this is activity note, and then if I write a comment, oh, sorry. Sorry for that. Okay. So if you see, then, and the network tab, there's no call here. So if I go to the application, sorry, the WebSocket, so this is subscription. If I just edit the comment also here, let me just edit the comment. Here. Oh, let me just, sorry. It's edited here as well. Let me just try to delete one. Let's just delete it from here as well. And let me just update label. So everything is real time. If you see, the comment threads are closed for now, but after that, once the UX threads thing is updated, after that they will be open by default, and then you can see the real time update here as well. So yeah, I mean, editing, updating, deleting comments, real time update of activities that you're doing. Let me just try to change the date as well. See, so this is real time update, which is happening on subscriptions, and no polling. Yes, I can remove the GraphQL filter to make sure that there's no call. Yeah, what I do is I inspect this and GraphQL filter. Yeah, there's no filter here as well. Sorry for the breakpoints. So there's no polling here, no network tab. This is just the update call, which happened here, and no call here. So yeah, that's the real-time update for notes.
Yeah, I think we should start replacing Google Docs with work items to to our agendas.
Yeah, but this was much needed, and it's merged. I'm happy. So yeah, please test it out, and I think it will be we'll remove the flag next week when we have a certain more thing like filtering of notes as well, and then we can remove the flag, and then, but till then, please test it out and let me know if you face any issues. Yeah.
It's very cool. I think
Thanks.
customers will love it. It's pretty awesome. I love seeing this.
It's Alexandro and Natalia as well, so not mine. Like Alexandro and Natalia literally like pitched in to make sure that the data that we are getting for subscriptions is the same way that Apollo wanted. So it was for me also quite a learning experience to understand how this magic works and when do we want to handle it manually. But yeah, it's collaboration. It's not me. Yeah. Thank you.
Amazing. We spent our one-on-one, which we just had, just playing around with it and conversing with each other in real time on a work item.
You hijacked my work item. You know that, right?
Oh yeah,
so
I
I created
yeah, that's the one we were testing it on.
So to test my own feature, and then I get an email saying,
oh yeah, you were getting all the
comment,
notifications on that.
Right,
Sorry.
so you hijacked it. It's
fine.
Sorry.
Deepika, just to confirm, it is under the work items MVC feature flag or MVC2?
No, MVC, not 2.
Okay, so then it is available for everywhere, for everywhere internally, meaning GitLab org and GitLab com. So test it out everywhere, not just client stage. Please.
So just a quick question. I think description are also covered in the real-time updates, right? Like one can update a description in one page and someone else who are okay.
Yeah, that one's been in for a bit.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll just open a new issue to basically propose support for multiple cursors then.
Oh, there's plenty of issues around that. And plenty of investigations that's been done around that. Simon, remind me, we have conflict management on real-time for descriptions in work items, or did we not get there yet?
We just have a conflict like notification if someone else has saved and you're trying to save. Then it just shows you the entire updated box. There's not like inline conflict resolution.
But there are definitely issues around that where Nick has had some proposals. Nick and Simon have walked through some proposals on what to do there. Okay. Cool. All right. Any other questions on real-time notes? Okay. Let me do some a couple demos here. And I am definitely just the messenger here because I was not involved at all in the work. This first one was by Kong, which was just if you recall, when we first released tasks, we had the concept of because we didn't have the widget at the time, so we created tasks from Markdown checklist. We decided to switch to the widget, the task widget, and created tasks through there only. And then we did a bunch of UX research on the addition of tasks within descriptions, and we've made some updates now, and that is ready to be demoed. Where should I demo it on? Yeah, I think we can do this one. Okay. Oh, sorry, let me shrink my screen a little bit. Okay, so previously there was an icon that showed up next to the task. You clicked on it and showed the menu to convert it to a task. Now we've got the menu on the far right side that's added there, and there's two options in there. One is to delete, which just deletes I believe it just deletes the text from or just deletes the markdown. And then updates the description. And yeah, so just an easy way to delete your tasks that way. Then the other one is convert to task. So we're going to do that. And that also deletes it. And then adds it as a task. That's that. Questions, comments?
I'm glad it's back.
Me too.
I used it. I'm glad it's back with the working with the widget, actually, not just like these two separate things that were completely disconnected. Like it actually works with the widget. Really like it.
Yeah. It's I've used it a couple times already to because normally when I create tasks, I'm creating a number of tasks at a time. And it's still pretty quick to do it this way, just because we don't, like when we create one, we don't close it out. So I can just type it all there. A lot of times I'll have a list external to GitLab somewhere like in my note-taking app, and then I'll move it over here, and then I'll have to add it to the widget here. And it's a lot easier to just go through and really quickly go convert to task, convert to task, convert to task. But the next step, I think, will be a more efficient way of bulk adding tasks, whether that be like comma separated here, or just being able to like highlight all of your tasks here, and maybe like an option just to turn them all directly into tasks. But all stuff we're talking about. Okay, I didn't put this in the agenda, but I also wanted to demo something for Brett that I think is in production. Yes, it definitely is in production because Amanda just updated the org that it's available. But on copy this issue. I have some stuff here. Okay, so issue. Let me just create one. Okay, so we have a GitLab URL to an issue there. We all know you add the plus and it shows the title. Now, I think we were calling it, or no, that's called the enhanced popover. I don't remember what this was called, but as opposed to without that, where we just showed the IID there with a reference. Okay, so plus adds the title. Now we have the option of plus S, which stands for summary, which shows a bit more details to that to the issue, or to the URL, to the link there. So it's the title, the assignee, the milestone, and the health status. And then if something is not there, let me remove health status. Wonder if the cache is gonna, oh wow, instantly removed. But yeah, that if it's not there, it just doesn't show up.
This is really cool. Like, how do you advertise this though? Because I would never, like.
There's so many people I'm sure don't even know the plus adding outside of GitLab. So good question. I don't have the answer.
Yeah, we do have issues with discoverability of these kind of features. Like we can advertise it in the release post of the milestone, but then it's not obvious when using the product. So maybe we should have a little like help icon on the text area or something. And when you click, it lists like maybe the quick actions and the little shortcuts and a few things like this, because there is no discoverability for it at all. I feel like we should add something to the text area.
I think like as you type in the markdown, if we can detect this is a link to an issue or something like that, we can probably show a popover. And then if you want to type on plus or S, it's possible.
Yeah, that's even more elegant than my idea. Yeah. Good one.
I think that'd be great as long as like there's a way to dismiss it forever, because you'd only want that to happen maybe once or twice to remind you. Then hopefully you kind of remember.
Or you can it doesn't even have to be a popover, but like you can like right above the markdown field or below the subject line, something like that.
Yeah, or like when Slack does it on like Google Docs, how they'll continue sending the like message around, do you want to install the Google Docs app, which will add some nice metadata or something like that to it. So we could do something like that with because we have a onboarding or like a guide thingy in the app for certain features I've seen on the bottom right corner when we're advertising stuff. So we could do something like that. Like if we, like you were saying, if we sense that they are, or if we detect that they were using a issue link, saying just like a, hey, did you know you can add the plus. We're also discussing if it should just be like we should show the title by default, because I think most people, if they knew the plus existed, would rather send the title, would rather have the title shown in the link as opposed to the reference and the ID. Oh, yes, everyone is using Arc now. I think it's just, is everyone using it now?
I have it installed. Tried it for a while, but then it was hard to adjust my mental model of seeing tabs on the sidebar, so abandoned it.
Yeah, that is the big change.
I don't want to discourage anyone, but I would be really careful, like trusting a new browser. It's basically another operating system. And I've seen scary things when I took a security course back in college. Like I had this really smart professor. Like he became a professor in like around like 30, like, you know, so like a genius. And basically he told me, like he told the class, like all the interesting stuff like smart brains are like working on browser, and you shouldn't really trust any browser that's not from a major company. And this is the guy who discovered like so many flaws in the Intel chip. So yeah, since then I don't want
An
to read about
engine or a browser though.
browser and engine. Like basically, if you are working on a browser, even if you're just making a shell, right? You're
Hang on, I'm stopping
entrusting,
recording, everyone.